Trump pulls way ahead of Biden in the latest polls as Democrats scramble to get rid of Biden, and Republicans continue to find more incriminating evidence of the president's corruption. Hello, I'm Mike Huckabee with your September 28th edition of The Breakdown. We're nearly at 1 million subscribers. Absolutely nothing will happen when we get there. And I kind of like that number. So if you get to the end of the video and you find it informative, you really should subscribe and leave a like. The second Republican primary debate for second place was hosted last night by Fox Business. Donald Trump didn't attend the debate. With as far ahead of the other Republican candidates as Trump is in the polls, the only point of the other candidates being in the race is to maintain position to take Trump's spot if by some miracle or the malicious actions of the Democrats, his favorability drops. With as many independents are favoring Trump over Biden, it seems like the only way that may happen is if one of his several trials concludes with a conviction before election month in 2024. And speaking of polls, you may be aware of the Washington Post ABC News poll that was disastrous for President Biden. To sum it up, it showed overwhelming disapproval of how he's doing his job, and he was 10 points behind Trump in a 2024 rematch. It was so bad for Biden that the Washington Post must feel that it has failed in its duty to lie for Democrats, and it's even casting aspersions on its own poll. WAPO said, the Post-ABC poll shows Biden trailing Trump by 10 percentage points at this early stage in the election cycle, although the sizable margin of Trump's lead in this survey is significantly at odds with other public polls that show the general election contest a virtual, closed, and dead heat. The difference between this poll and others, as well as the unusual makeup of Trump's and Biden's coalitions in this survey, suggests it probably is an outlier. Oh, yeah. Boy, talk about falling on your sword, which sounds more like something Joe Biden might do by accident. But to mix a metaphor or two, there's an elephant in the room, and they can't sweep it under the rug. Another new poll this time from NBC found that 74% of Americans have concerns that Biden just doesn't have the mental or physical health to serve another term. And that includes 59% who have major concerns. These are the people who have been paying attention. 60% are concerned that he might have been aware of his son Hunter's shady business deals. It also found that 56% disapprove of how he's doing his job. That's a career high for him. And worst of all for the Democrats, Biden's approval rating is under 50% among most reliably Democrat voting blocs. 46% among 18 to 34-year-olds, 46% among women, 43% among Latinos, and 26% among those with high school educations or less. Now, he still has a 63% approval among black voters, but that's down by 17 points. These numbers are catastrophic for Democrats because the way the party wins elections these days, aside from the ways we're not supposed to discuss, well, the way they do it is by turning identity groups against each other and convincing them that Republicans are racist, sexist, whatever. That way they just keep voting for Democrat policies that aren't in their best interest and even destroying their jobs, wages, communities, and children's futures. They put together enough of these groups and it puts them over 50%. But they need them voting in Democrat monolithic manners for it to work. And it has worked for generations. But then we've never before had an administration that was so far left and pressed the progressive pedal to the metal the way this one has, all the way from an open border to the revolving door of jails to raging inflation. Maybe the catastrophic results coming so soon after the peace, prosperity, and rising wages of the Trump years have finally made the toxicity of leftist policy so obvious that people are at least taking off the blinders and for the first time seeing the whole picture. All this spells doom for the Democrats in 2024, so they're in full panic and spin mode trying to recover, with Biden's team telling you, don't trust your lying eyes or your vacant wallet, and the media suggesting that Biden should just bow out. You may recall just a couple of weeks ago that one of Joe Biden's biggest fans over at the Washington Compost, David Ignatius, wrote an opinion piece with the headline, President Biden should not run again in 2024. I mean, it doesn't get a lot clearer than that. They don't want him, and they're now putting the pressure on to get rid of him. They're in a little bit of a bind, though, because they can't just admit that they don't think he's up to the task of beating Trump because he's too old or maybe too corrupt. And that's where the GOP members who take their job seriously come in. Fox News reporting that House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, has been investigating the Biden family business dealings and President Biden's alleged involvement in those ventures. He subpoenaed some of the Biden's financial records and found that over $250,000 was sent directly to Joe Biden's home address from Beijing, specifically from Hunter's business partners Jonathan Lee and Tan Ling. At the time, Hunter Biden's home was in Los Angeles, not Delaware. So why didn't he have the money sent there? That's a rhetorical question, by the way. What's more, according to the Oversight Committee report, evidence shows that Joe Biden developed a familiar relationship with Jonathan Lee during his vice presidency and prior to these payments to Hunter Biden. Devin Archer, a Biden business associate, described how Joe Biden met with Jonathan Lee in Beijing, China, had a phone call with him, and later wrote college recommendation letters for his children. If anybody is wondering why Trump's indictments aren't hurting him all that much among independents, it's because Biden is corrupt. And there's actually solid evidence of that, despite what the mewling Democrat-run media would suggest. I hate to agree with him on anything, but Barack Obama's words have rung truer and truer every single day of Joe Biden's presidency. Never underestimate Joe's ability to mess things up. Well, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel below. Be sure to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments section. Be sure to catch the Live with Mike live stream tomorrow, Friday the 29th. I'll cover more of the news of the week, and you can ask me anything. I mean, anything you want. If you want more of my news analysis and commentary, all you got to do is sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. Comes to your email inbox twice a day. And here's the really good news. It's totally free. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.